How did your high school crush turn out as an adult? She is a very successful person working in Montana as a firefighter, and also does research in Antarctica. Became a professional cheerleader, died of breast cancer at 34. Googling names from high school is crazy. My English teacher still looks fine as fuck, you made me check, and she is actually a very successful artist, and an art teacher at a renowned university in France. She even got decorated for her work, Chevalier des Arts et des Lettres. His friend murdered him over a girl. I briefly worked with mine, and didn't realize it was her until I left for another job. She looked almost unrecognizable, but it was 15 years after I last saw her. She's married with a couple of kids now, so pretty standard life I guess. She ended up dating and marrying the guy who bullied me all through middle school and high school. They seem like a functional family from what I see on social media. Pretty good. Seems to have her life together, although she had a few setbacks. She's gone back to uni since job prospects in her field kinda sucked, but seems to be really enjoying it. And #X200B. She's dating me though, so clearly her judgment sucks. I was a freshman and had a crush on a senior. To add to it, she was a cheerleader and her brother played QB for the football team and got a college scholarship. She showed up at a football game a couple of years later with a baby in tow. She's married now and back in her hometown. That's about all I know. I don't know about you guys, but I had way too many crushes in high school. Deleted my high school ex randomly sent me a text years after we split up that went, I know you don't like metal, but I thought you'd like this, and a link to a clarinet cover of a metal song I played in HS. Little did he know that I hated playing clarinet and I was now a total metalhead. Hot douche, who doesn't really do much except go to the gym. To be fair, that's how he was in high school, I just liked it back then. She's still hot, successful and wealthy entrepreneur, and married someone with the same first name as me, and who quit his job to brew beer. I crushed on her for a bit, didn't think she was interested so I dated others, then come to find out she crushed on me senior year, I was too dumb and blind, we connected freshman year of college. She wrote me letters, and by the time I wised up she had moved on. No one to blame but myself. An insanely talented molecular biology researcher at Boston. And she's still insanely attractive. Edit. It looks like a lot of people feel like they know this same person. It's crazy how many molecular biologists people know, making me wonder what I ever saw in them. He's doing good for himself. He's grown emotionally, has a seemingly healthy relationship with a longtime girlfriend, and is working healthfully on all his career and personal goals. Hedge fund manager with a trophy wife. Overdosed and died last year. I got to see him before he was taken off life support with a really good mutual friend we shared, organ donor too. It was surreal seeing him dwarfed by all these machines. He had one of the largest hearts I've ever come across. Edit, graduated back in the early 2000s, and last year, 2019, WTF is time even anymore. Dead by 32, drugs. She ended up getting knocked up by a freshman shortly after we graduated. Still hot af. Going to an all-boys school sucks for having realistic crushes. However, ran into one of the teachers years later, and she still looked bellissima. They both ended up as great guys. One has a huge family, and is a minister. The other only has one child, and is a college professor. Both married nice people, and are happy. They were really good guys in high school, and ended up being really good adults. I've got both of them on Facebook, and we keep in touch peripherally as we stayed friends over the years. She was aware then, over 30 years ago, but it was unrequited. We've been in casual contact through Facebook for the past several years, and once before that my wife, at the time, and I had her and her husband over for dinner. From what I can tell, she's grown into a person I probably would have been happy with. It's nice to see my high school perspective got a few things right. I think we'd be good friends if we lived closer. She appears to be living a good life with her husband and family. With my second wife, I'm happier than I could have ever imagined. Life worked out well. Still a 10 for looks. I'm sure she kept on as the amazing, kind person she is. She moved to another country, speaks multiple languages, and is more successful than I imagined. She seems happy, but we haven't talked since the time I told her how I felt about her about 20 years ago. Turns out I was attracted to losers and burnouts lol. That hasn't changed much. One I don't keep track of at all. I'm not sure what she's up to. The other I married, she turned out awesome. There was a girl I really admired for a while. She didn't really give me the time of day after freshman year though. She was co-valedictorian and hugged me as I crossed the stage at graduation, and no one else got one. I'm still really confused about that 6 years later. She went on to med school and is either married or at least engaged to a guy she met there. Overall she's doing really well, and I'm happy for her. I had 3. 1 from the first 2 years, and 2 from the last 2. The first one is now F2M trans, who walked to Colorado to join a cult/commune. He is now in Arizona recording rap albums. The second girl moved to Florida and lives in a swamp. She periodically hits me up to tell me she misses me, how dumb I was that I didn't follow through, that we should get married. The third was a missionary. She wasn't really into it once she grew up, came back home, and I introduced her to one of my closest friends. They've been married for 15 years. 0/3. Haha, my husband. Our first marriages didn't work out, and we reconnected after our divorces. If only I would have confessed I had a crush on him in high school, might have saved myself a lot of trouble. Lol, my friend's high school crush was Tom Holland. Like they went to the same school. I had several. One of them is still a close friend, and he became a primary care doctor. He also officiated my wedding. I have no idea what happened to another one. We didn't really have overlapping friend groups, and she doesn't do social media. One of them is a math professor now, so that's pretty cool. My biggest crush in high school was my longtime neighbor, but it also fizzled out pretty quickly after we went to homecoming together. We're still good friends, and our families still keep in touch. He's also the guy who introduced me to my husband. About to be my fiancé, if all goes well. Very well. He joined the military and served for a number of years, was in after Vietnam, and out before the Gulf War, so I'm not sure if he actually saw much active duty, and then settled in Korea, where he trained in Taekwondo, and did a lot of professional fighting, and won a lot of awards. Attained the rank of Grandmaster, and returned to the US, and opened a very successful school that specializes in TKD and Hapkido. Has opened additional locations, and is currently looking to open one in our old hometown. I imagine that will happen post-COVID. She worked with the Obama administration, I forgot in what capacity, got married to some politician's son, don't remember, don't care to look up. She is happy, and that's the only thing that matters. Oh, she was also our school's valedictorian. She was so busy with her job she could not organize a high school reunion, so that's a plus. I wasn't head over heels for her, I admired her, but I knew I wasn't for her. Then there's another crush of mine. We ran into each other years after graduation at grocery store. After talking I asked her out to dinner at my house. I pull out all the stops, I buy rainbow trout fillets, and make all the fixings. 6:30 rolls around, I open the door, and who the hell is this man behind her? Oh, this is my fiancé, she tells, neglected to tell me about me. Turns out they wanted to sell me on some MLM thing. She tried to cross the threshold, I put my arm out, and asked them politely to leave. I turned away from the door and had my saddest meal I ever ate.